Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to look at some poetry, we are going to uncover a 400-year-old story of a relationship in total freefall, and it's all told through some of Shakespeare's most intense and, honestly, most beautiful sonnets.
So, our story really kicks off with this just devastating line. It perfectly captures that awful feeling when you realize a love has become an illusion. You know that feeling, right? It's the kind of thing that hits you in those quiet moments when you suddenly think, wait a minute, was any of that even real? Or was I just dreaming the whole time?
You gotta understand, this isn't just a random bunch of poems. No, it's a full-on story, a 3-act journey. We're gonna follow the speaker as he tries to make sense of this massive loss. He goes from this kind of strange legal acceptance of the end, all the way to completely rebuilding his entire view of the world. Okay. Let's dive into it.
So, we're in Act 1, The Surrender, and this is where things get really interesting. In this first stage of the crisis, the speaker doesn't fight back. He doesn't argue, he doesn't plead. Instead, he just surrenders. And get this, he uses the cold, hard language of Elizabethan law to talk about something as emotional as the end of love. I mean, who does that?
He sees the person he loves and their own worth as a kind of legal document. He calls it a charter. And this charter basically gives them the freedom to just leave. It's like their own amazingness is its own get-out-of-jail-free card for the relationship.
What he's saying here is that their love was basically a contract. And well, that contract has expired. And notice, he's not weeping about it. No, he's like an accountant. He's auditing the loss. He's basically concluded that he never deserved this person in the first place. His claim, his patent on them, has lapsed, and the gift of their love has to go back to its rightful owner.
Okay, so this self-surrender, it then escalates into something way more extreme. The speaker doesn't just accept the breakup, he offers to actively help destroy his own reputation just to justify it.
And I mean, the offers he makes are just shocking. He promises to publicly argue against himself, using his most private knowledge of his own weaknesses to do it. He'll even invent flaws he doesn't actually have. And then, maybe the most painful part, he promises to become a complete stranger, to literally strangle any memory of their connection.
So it all leads to this really chilling conclusion. If the person he loves hates him, well, then he has to hate himself too. It's complete self-erasure. And this brings up a huge question, one that readers have debated for centuries. Is this the ultimate act of selfless love, or is it a portrait of a person who has lost all sense of their own worth?
All right, let's move on to Act 2. This is the big philosophical crisis at the heart of our story, and it all revolves around Sonnet 94, which is, without a doubt, the most debated and mysterious poem in the entire collection.
At first glance, the poem seems to be this admiring portrait of someone with just incredible self-control. You know, a person who has the power to hurt but chooses not to. Someone who can stir up deep emotions in other people while they themselves remain totally unmoved, cold, and slow to temptation.
But here's the debate. Is this really a portrait of admirable stoicism? Is being a lord and owner of their faces a good thing? Or is this a veiled warning about a dangerous, unfeeling coldness? Is this person's self-possession really just a mask for a profound lack of empathy? And then the poem takes this violent turn. This final image just shatters any simple, positive reading. The whole idea is that the most beautiful things, when they get corrupted from the inside, become the most foul. The sweetest flower, when it rots, is more repulsive than the most common weed. It's this powerful warning that perfect beauty can hide a really terrible decay.
After that psychological crisis, we move into Act 3. The speaker is now physically absent from his beloved, and this absence doesn't just make him sad, it completely transforms his perception of the entire world around him.
Think about this. It's literally summer and autumn, a time described as teeming with life and abundance. But emotionally, for him, it feels like the dead of winter. It's full of freezings and dark days. The world is physically overflowing, but for him, it's emotionally barren and totally empty. And here's why this matters so much. The speaker's love is the measure of reality itself. Without his beloved, the seasons lose all their meaning. That rich, abundant harvest is just a collection of unfathered fruit. It's orphaned, with no parent to give it any significance. The world is still there, sure, but its soul is gone. So, in the final stage of this journey, the speaker's new way of seeing the world becomes this strange, almost playful indictment of nature itself. He starts seeing crime everywhere he looks.
He looks at a garden and he no longer sees beauty, he sees a lineup of thieves. He accuses the violet of stealing its scent from his love's breath. The lily is condemned for taking the whiteness of his love's hand. Even the poor roses are caught red-handed, one blushing with shame, the other pale with despair.
And this just completely reverses the usual logic of love poetry. Normally, a poet says, "My love is like a rose." But here, Shakespeare is saying the rose is a cheap copy of his love. The beloved has become the original pattern, the masterpiece, from which all other beauty in the world is just stolen.
Shakespeare's journey through this estrangement suggests that a profound loss doesn't just leave an absence, it forces us to rebuild our entire understanding of reality. It's a haunting repair job that changes not just how we feel, but how we literally see everything, from the turning of the seasons to the color of a single flower.